Hello and welcome back to my double-headed challenge for 2025, where I'm trying to find 200 different species of Australian birds in Australia and also 100 different species within my local government area, which is called the Tatiara. Last time on the Backroads, I found an enormous number of birds, including a few that I didn't expect. So let's go out and see what we can see this time. It is late March in Australia and it's very dry. It's the middle of our summer and it hasn't rained for months. So farm dams are proving extremely popular with these Australian wood ducks. You might see some Pacific black ducks in the background there as well. They congregate at these dams in their hundreds, both the adults and the ones with the stripy kind of plumage are last year's babies. They'll hang around here feeding on grasses for as long as the water lasts, and then they'll go somewhere else and look for some more water. Farm troughs provide some welcome water for these juvenile crimson rosellas. Well, that is, of course, until the bully boys come along. These galahs took over the trough while they had their own drink. But as soon as they left, the crimson rosellas returned. Now, as I mentioned, these are all juveniles. You can tell by the bright green coloration. The one on the right that's just flown to the far side is almost full grown. You can tell because he's almost as red as the adults that you can see in the picture provided. Sulphur-crested cockatoos will make use of any infrastructure they can find to perch on. In this case, it's one of the pipes on a centre pivot. If you look closely, you might just see a couple of long-billed corellas in there as well. Australian magpies are far and away one of the most common birds that we see. They're at home in town or equally out in the paddocks foraging like this family group. They're very, very territorial, and the one thing that they really don't like is having wedge-tailed eagles in their territory. This eagle I spied just hanging out on a tree branch in a paddock. I don't know if you noticed that the resident magpies family had come in to check him out. They decided that they didn't like him being there at all, so they started their campaign to move him on, swooping at him constantly over probably 15 minutes or so. Obviously, I've condensed that action for this video. It's pretty brave of them because magpies do provide prey for wedge-tailed eagles. They kept at it and at it and at it. And then they'd take a little rest and survey the eagle, trying to work out if he was going to move on or not. And finally, the constant harassment and scrutiny by the magpies made the eagle decide that he would just give up and take himself somewhere else. So he left, hotly pursued by one of the magpies who wanted to make sure that he was clear of the territory. I just stopped here on the side of the road to check out the hole in the tree just behind me over there, where I saw the owlet nightjar that I showed you in the first video from this series. I've been back several times, but so far no luck. I haven't seen him again. I thought I might have a chance of seeing him this morning. It is a sunny morning after a cool night, and often they'll sit out and sunbake in those conditions. But I've looked around and I can't see him. They're small, they're grey, they sit very still, they don't move, they don't call. They're pretty hard to see. I've been here for 10 minutes or so looking around. I don't see him, so I'll probably move on. I'll come out and check again, probably several times during the year, because I really like owlet nightjars. Hopefully I'll see him again. Wow, I did not expect to see this today. That is awesome. Doing a lot of calling there, little friend. I wonder what you're calling for. Don't see any friends of yours around. Of course, birds aren't the only thing you see when you're out on the back roads. We call these little guys swamp wallabies, and they're very, very cute. But here's a figure you should recognise, one of the most iconic Australian birds. It's a laughing kookaburra. They spend a lot of time sitting on a perch, usually a dead branch, just looking out over their territory. They're keeping an eye out for anything that they can eat. Small rodents, baby birds, snakes, they like a snake, lizards, anything like that. But hang on, did you see that? Let's just take a look at that again. There's the kookaburra just sitting there, he's kind of yawning. And then, yep, that happens. That's the remains of his last meal, all the bones and things that he couldn't digest. I've read that they did that, but I've never seen it before. Here's a spiny-cheeked honeyeater. We've seen them on the challenge list, but now I can add it to the Tatiara list as well. And here's a common bronzewing. They're very flighty birds and they don't like you looking at them, so they usually freeze for a while, and then as soon as they can, they will take off and seek cover in the bushes. These birds, just emerging from the scrub, are white-winged choughs. When they're in flight, you can see their white wings. Lately, they've been doing something very strange. Now, normally I would see these birds foraging on the ground like this in family groups with between 8 and maybe 20 individuals in the group. But lately, I've been seeing mega flocks, and I count them as flocks of birds with between 50 to even up to 100 individuals in them. This is not, as far as I know, normal behaviour, and I'm very confused about what's going on. Could it be some response to the very dry conditions that we've been having? I don't know, so if you've got any ideas at all why these huge flocks should be gathering, perhaps you could leave a comment in the section below, because I'd really like to know. There's a lot that I don't know about Australian birds, and there's a lot that generally is not known about Australian birds. This could be something that hasn't been seen before. or it could be something that's well known. So if you've got any ideas, if you've got any thoughts, if you know somebody who might know, please leave a comment below, because there's a lot of people who are starting to get very interested in this behaviour. Thanks for joining me on this latest little adventure around the back roads of the Tatiara. And thank you to the 106 people who have subscribed to this channel. Yeah, I know, in YouTube terms, it's a very small amount of people, but I appreciate you all, and it gives me some encouragement to keep going on this mad little quest that I've set myself. I hope you can join me next time, where we go to some different places and find some more amazing birds. But in the meantime, until next time, happy birding.